Hello, welcome to Animal Audit Corner. Today I am going to bring you another Scientology versus the Mafia and the treatment of children. Scientology are known worldwide for abusing children, are known to use young children for slave labor. Scientology has the reputation for abusing every child they have in the organization. It's also notorious for trafficking them around for everyone, and everyone knows it. One of the most worst demonic organizations around. While Costra Nostra is the exact opposite of Scientology when it comes to treatment of children. She is known for grooming their kids to be slave labor. Mafia is known to groom their young males to be killing machines, and they also for grooming their little girls for domestic roles. Costra Nostra, they would also be well known to have the reputation with young children in today's modern day mafia families. Scientology and Costra Nostra would be different from when it comes to the way of how they treat a child. According to all the former members of Scientology, a young child is often abused and neglected, while Costra Nostra always has a hands-off women and children policies. Nobody should ever hurt a child. But in the Sea Org, each and every kid is also always far from their families. While in the mafia, young children are hardly away from their families. They are always around their families. Both crime organizations would treat children differently than the other. When a child is indoctrinated in Scientology, they are either born in it or come into it later on in the picture. And they also could be recruited in by one of the members of the C. The organization will also recruit those kids along with their families through Scientology. Often get separated. They would always get separated from their families. In Costra Nostra, they would be no formal recruitment into that type of organization. But however, they do indoctrinate these kids. Now, the mob would never separate a child away from their families. They are always kept with the mother. They would have a hands-off the family rule, and according to Michael Franzese, families are off limits. Historically, that rule has been broken where children have been taken out of their homes and were held for ransom. The reports that was put out there said that it was not true. Based on all litigation made by former members of Scientology, each and every child in the organization are groomed to be indoctrinated to be slave labor. Secure them to be an unpaid labor when they become a member of the Sea Org. The whole process would be obvious when it involves isolation, manipulation, and abuse. The whole process would generally give a definition of sexual grooming. That means if there's a sexual predator around the child and they sexually assault them, the parents cannot report it to the police, which is a rule that L. Ron Hubbard had written into Scientology. When those children are indoctrinated, they are being taught that they are adults in a little person's body. They would also learn survival as soon as the organization feels that it's time for them to learn how to survive on their own, even if they're too young to fend for themselves. When Costra Nostra grooms their children to be indoctrinated into the mob, also starts in the home. Being indoctrinated into the mob would also start at infancy. The children's parents play a huge part in the transmitting La Costra Nostra-like culture in their formative. When the son is groomed, usually he would do such things by hiding illegal weapons. But when it's the daughter, they are always groomed to marry someone that's in the mob. This is essential to strengthen in the claim by joining them together through blood. That's how the mafia raises their children. Kids in Scientology are never at home. They would most likely be Scientology. They would be in Scientology from their families. These kids are always abused by their organization and are treated inhumanely. They are always abused verbally, physically, emotionally, and sexually, and they are also constantly sleep deprived. Alternative education for all the young boys when they are illegally giving them these kids skills. The higher earning around the criminal organization has skills where earning significant amounts of money is what little boys are trained to have knowledge about. They would have traditional street earnings along with skills that they learn in today's modern day organized crime. They feel that they have a better educated members where they earn more. In La Costra Nostra, school is not really mandatory. In they would set up a crime where the task is shooting, while each and every child that is separated from, well, that's what they're learning. Child in Scientology, they are taught slave labor, and they are often deprived from going to school. They feel that they have a better educational members. They earn more enemies. That's the mafia. Education at Scientology schools like Delphina, that's run by the Sea Org, is constantly extreme indoctrination. By isolating them, they are used as slave labor. It's not really a school per se. It's disguised as a slave camp for children. Would have a curriculum that is immersed in Scientology's unusual curriculum that is centered on their doctrination. This would make them feel so helpless from being isolated from the whole world. As a case with Jamie Mustard, when he was an infant, he was taken out of the hospital and put into a separate rooms with other infants, and oftentimes is neglected. And if they are taken care of, it's often by other young children. They are reports that was so conventional learning experience that was very abusive. While each and every child that is separated from their family, then nevertheless, that way, that's the way Scientology and Cosa Nostra would recruit and groom their young. Overall, Scientology kids get groomed for slave labor, and the mafia are groomed for violence. Very young children for slave labor. Costra Nostra is the exact opposite of Scientology when it comes to children. But in the Sea Org, each and every kid is far from their families. They're never at home. When a child is indoctrinated in Scientology, they are either born into it or come into the picture a little later. Bob would never separate a child away from their families. They are always kept with the mother. This would secure them to be an unpaid labor because member of the Sea Org. That's Scientology. Kids in Scientology oftentimes are never at home. They are always separate from their families. In Costra Nostra, School is not really mandatory. In history, they would set up a club where they have task in shooting. Education at Scientology schools like Delphina, that's run by the Sea Org, is constantly extreme indoctrination by isolating them. They are used as slave labor. Conclusion, these two criminal organizations are different when it comes to children. And that's how Scientology and Costra Nostra would treat their children. Where one organization uses them for slave labor, at the end, the other would use them as killing machines for the future. And that's how they groom their kids. I gave you the story of Mafia versus Scientology. Tomorrow, I am going to be at my crafts table. Be there or be square at 4:30. Have a great day. Oh, remember, if you want to contribute to my channel, go to my PayPal or buy me a coffee. But if you can't afford it, here's the beauty part. You won't have to. Just watch the show and press the like and hit subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow.